So good morning, everybody, and happy Navaratri. Tonight begins the first night of the 9-day celebration to the goddess. And what that basically means is, we're celebrating, it's new moon, but we're celebrating the energy of transformation, the energy of Shakti. And Shakti is the energy that evolves, right? So anything that is created, anything that does create this is Shakti. So literally everything in your life is Shakti. Everything that you experience as yourself is Shakti. So the celebration is in the transformation or the turning over of that energies from where it used to be to where maybe it's going. So we begin that with, again, symbology or symbolically with the faces of Durga into Lakshmi, into Saraswati, with this sort of progression of how do you turn yourself inside out, right? How do you go from, how do you create, what's the word that I want? How do you work that transformational process from the inside out? So Durga is the first energy, and she's the one who slays the demons. So she's the energy that comes in and cuts away whatever has been holding you hostage, right? And holding you hostage doesn't mean that it has to be an aggressive force, but it does mean that there's a sense of attachment to it, right? So it's not only things that feel like they're negative, as she cuts away whatever attachments that we have that have kept us living our life in the same way all the time, every day, and feeling like that's the only way we can do it, right? So what I've been saying this week already is that the energy of Durga, because she does show up with weapons, she shows up with many arms, and she's the one that slays things, destroys things. So the warrior energy is big with her. And also, in order to really understand her, we have to step into that warrior energy in a peaceful way. Right? So I've been teaching this week is what it means to actually step into the peaceful warrior mentality, which means that you have to be aware of your attachments, right? You have to be aware of the energy that is behind your thoughts, because your thoughts are what's turning into the actions that you take, even thoughts that you think you're not acting on, right? They're affecting the way that you act in the world, the way that you respond to people and things in the world. Right? So Durga is the place where we start to become clear on where our energy is coming from and how we're using it. And if we're using it in an aggressive way, right, a way that's trying to protect ourselves by maybe pushing someone else or something else away, or if we're moving from a place that says, I'm really looking for how to be steadfast, how to stand firm on my principles, and also hold space for what the betterment of the entire creation, right? It's not just me that my energy is going to be a benefit for, right? So the peaceful warrior is the one that has the awareness of their own attachments, that knows this is where my energy is coming from. This is the energy that is behind my thoughts, which is what becomes my actions, right? So comfortable seat if you're not there already. Let the eyes close. And again, all of the goddess imagery aside, just this concept of knowing where the energy of your thoughts is coming from, or being able to feel that. Because we may choose to act in a certain way because we know on some level that it's more acceptable, or it's more appropriate, or it's more expected. But if the energy of our thoughts is aggressive, if the energy of our thoughts is angry, if the energy of our thoughts is holding on to an emotional state, whatever that state is that still colors whatever actions we decide to take. It still colors the space all around us. So that when we walk into a room, or even we don't have to walk into a room, energy is energy, even on a Zoom call, even on a phone call, that emotional state that we hold to is felt. So can you breathe a little bit deeper down, not just into your lungs, but breathe down into the base of your pelvis, drop into your seat. Where does the energy of my thoughts, where is it originating from? It's not just the mind. The emotional state that you hold on to is felt by the whole body. So feel for a moment what your body is resonating, not what your mind thinks. What is your body resonating? And if you don't know, because the mind is so loud, breathe a little deeper. And see if you can just get a little bit of a taste of what your body is resonating beneath your thoughts. And whatever is there, whatever you perceive or don't perceive, can you be at peace with it? Don't fight with it. But acknowledge that this is where your attachments are. So don't try to protect this state. Don't try to protect what's there as though it needs to stay the way that it is. One more deep breath in. And as you exhale all of the breath out, at the end of that exhale, pull the navel in towards the spine, push the air out. And then bring the hands together at the heart. We'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands, please. And then come forward onto hands and knees and begin to cat and cow. So you find your way there. Good. So I'm very interested in, I love the stories. I love the symbology of the yogic characters, the gods and the goddesses, and how that feeds into our own relationship with our own spirits. And also, my least favorite part of interacting with those things is that we keep them a fantasy. Right? We keep them in the realm of the invisible, the impossible, the not really relevant to my life. It's a nice thing to think about. So this sense of Durga is that there's a responsibility, right? What she represents, the ability to change, the ability to transform, the ability to eradicate what holds you hostage. So there's a responsibility that this is your power. It's not just her that comes in and does it for you. It's your power. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Pressing through the hands, neutral spine. Good. Press into the hands, tuck your toes, and then lift your knees just an inch or two up off the floor and squeeze your knees forward and push your butt back. Good. Squeeze your knees forward, push your butt back, scoop your low belly. Yeah, pressing into the hands. You got to keep your ribs up. Squeeze the knees forward, butt back. One more breath. Good. And then release the knees down to the floor. Walk your hands back up to your hips. Come to a high kneeling position. And then stretch your right leg out wide to the right. Good. Heel should be in line with the left knee. So move it a little bit further forward if you need, so it is in line. Good. Foot flat if you can. If not, you can come up on the heel, arms wide. Good. Letter T. Deep breath in. Slide that right hand down the right leg. Take the left arm over the ear. And then really draw your low rib cage in here. Good. So as you're drawing in, you're also really pulling up through the strength of your side body. You're not just leaning to the right, but you're actually pulling through that whole left side. So from the top of your left hip, pull up. Good. Nice, you guys. And then come all the way back up to center, please. Beautiful. Take your left hand to your left hip. Good. Lean to your right. Take the right arm over the ear. I lied, to your left. Sorry, you're leaning to your left, away from the extended leg. Good, but I do want your left hand on your left hip. There you go. You got it, Laura. And then take the right arm over your ear. Yep. Good, you guys. And really reach. So again, that hand at your hip, push your hip into your hand. Good. Nice. And then come all the way back up to center. Good. Take both hands down to the floor, please. Walk yourself straight ahead. So you're in that sort of awkward one-legged downward dog sort of thing. Good. You got it. And then keep lifting through the space of your low belly. So your left low belly is lifting a little higher. Good. Like you're trying to keep the pelvic bones, you're trying to keep both sides of your low back in line with each other. The inner thighs spin back. Good. Nice. Take one more breath, maybe bending the elbows a little bit more so you drop a little lower. Nice. And then walk yourself all the way back in. Good. Come to hands and knees. So bring that right knee back underneath you. Do a little circling of your hips. Just move the spine. Nice. I laugh a little bit that when you read the stories of Durga, go the other way with your hip circles, please. And when you read the stories of Durga, is that she's only called on when the world is like on the brink of disaster. Right? So there's this sense of waiting, of like when things are really, 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 really bad, they're the worst, and there's nothing else that I can do, then I'll ask for help. How dumb is that? Come back to center, please. Good. Plant your hands, tuck your toes. Yeah, hands and knees still. Lift your knees up off the floor just an inch or two. Good. And squeeze the knees forward and push your butt back. Scoop your low belly. Good. Pull your low ribs in. Push your butt back. Tops of thighs back, but knees forward. Nice. Don't drop your head. Yeah, there you go. And then release the knees down to the floor. Good job. Walk your hands back up onto your hips, please. And then take your left leg out wide to the left. Heel in line with the opposite knee. Again, toes angled forward if they can be. Again, if that doesn't quite work for you, then you can put the foot at whatever angle it needs to be. Alice, I can't quite see, but it looks like your left foot is a little far back. Okay, yeah, good. Arms wide, please. And then deep inhale, get taller. And then slide left hand down the left leg, right arm comes over the ear, over the extended leg. Good. And again, you're pulling, you're reaching through that whole right side. So pull up through your right hip, pull through your right ribs. Don't just lean. Good. And then come all the way back up to center, please. And then you're going to lean the other direction. So right hand comes to your right hip. Good. You're leaning to your right. Left arm comes over the ear. Good. So again, there's this line from the wrist all the way down to the edge of that extended ankle, and push your right hip into your right hand. So again, you're not falling into this feeling of I'm just leaning and gravity is pulling me this way, as you're actually holding your steady center. Good. And then come all the way back up to center. Good. Release the hands down to the floor, please. And then walk yourself straight ahead. Again, spinning those inner thighs back and in and back. Good. And lifting through the low belly. So your right low belly lifts a little higher because it tends to drop. Nice. So I've been contemplating, right, is that sense of why do we wait until we feel like we're on the brink of disaster before we try to change something? Why do we wait until it's too painful to bear, right? So Durga is partially this invitation that says you can be continuously evolving, you can be continuously changing if you're not attached, right? The attachment to the way things are is what causes us trouble. So that's where you've got to look. Because otherwise we will go to that point where we stay the same until it's too painful to bear anymore. How dumb is that? Walk yourself back in. And your mind is already like, but I have good reasons for why I do this. Of course you do. Come back to hands and knees. Hip circles. It's part of the attachment. I have really good reasons for why I've set my life up this way and why I won't change it. Fantastic reasons, the best reasons. Can't tell me I'm wrong. All right. And this is Durga too. She doesn't argue. She simply waits for you to get to the end of your own arguments and say, you asked me for help. Move your hips the other way, please. Even if you didn't ask her for help, she's here. So the opportunity is to be aware of where the energy of your thoughts is coming from, what's being generated, what your body is resonating with. Come back to stillness, please. Drop back, child's pose, knees wide, big toes together to touch. Drop your hips back to your heels. It's to take all of that awareness and to step into the responsibility of your life. more fully. That doesn't mean that you have to make it better, make it into something else, but you don't have to hang on to the way that it is as protection. Right? You can explore where there's places that you've ignored, where you have maybe not tried because you've been sure of failure. Walk your torso to the right, please, over the right thigh. Just that thought, how long do you wait? How painful do you let something get before you say, maybe I should change it? And how many times do you say, well, maybe it won't be so bad tomorrow? Come back to center, walk to your left, and then tomorrow comes and you're like, no, it's just as bad. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be. Still dissatisfying. When you feel what your body is resonating, you feel what's going on in the energy of your thoughts, because this dictates how you will be in the world. Come back to center, please. Good. And then walk back up to hands and knees and press back downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips. With that same energy, right, as you start to lift your knees up off the floor, that same energy in your legs, if I'm pulling inward and upward, and then I take my hips to the sky. Good. So it's not just pushing through my legs that gets me there. It's lifting up through my ribs, through my core. Nice. And then take the right leg up and back, down dog split. Good. Bring the knee forward towards your nose, armpits over your wrists. Again, squeeze in, get into that feeling of curling up, curling in. Awesome. And then take the right leg back and up, down dog split. Beautiful. And then just as easefully and controlled, step that right foot forward between the hands. So bring it forward, scoop even more, and then place that foot, consciously place that foot. Good. Back heel comes flat, baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Take both hands inside the front foot. Keep your right knee pointing straight towards that second or third toe. Move your hands to the left just a little bit until you start to feel resistance. Pull that right butt cheek back and in so your hips stay in line with your ankles, stay in line with your feet. Good. And then again, the opportunity to go deeper is to bend your elbows. Let your chest drop. Good. But keep the legs really awake. So you got to engage those glutes. You got to scoop that right butt cheek under. Nice. Good. You guys. Walk all the way to your left, please. Come to the center of your mat. Turn the right toe straight in the right leg. Prasarita Padottanasana. Check that your feet are in the same line with each other. If they aren't, move them. Good. And then bow deeply, squeezing the legs towards each other, scooping the belly. Hold opposite elbows for a moment so you really let your legs hold you. Awesome. And then take the hands to your hips, please. Come all the way up to stand. Beautiful. Heel toe your feet a little bit closer and then turn both feet out wide. Yeah, 45 degrees, both feet. Bend your knees, come into high squat. So that same feeling, right, when you were in gate pose, you had one leg extended, is you're looking for that lift of the front edge of your pelvic bones, but that's sending the inner thighs back and wide. Good. So nice high squat. Take the arms out wide, letter T. Bend the elbows into cactus arms. Your classic goddess pose. Good. Low ribs draw in. Nice. Lift and spread your toes. That's it. So you drop into your feet a little bit more. Let your thighs go a little wider. Good. You're still breathing deeply. If this gets difficult, you have to breathe deeper. Awesome. One more breath. Beautiful. And then straighten the legs, please. Turn your toes forward. Reach behind you. Hold opposite elbows or interlace the fingers behind you. Your choice. Good. Nice long deep breath in and then bow forward, trying to, from your belly, pull up. Keep pushing your back up into your hands if you have holding opposite elbows. And then take the arms up and over if you are clasping your hands. But still have that same energy, even if you're taking the arms straight. Have the energy of pulling the ribs in and expanding into your back body. Don't arch to try and open the shoulders more. Good. Nice, Sue. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Nice job. Right hand plants, left hand comes to your lower spine. The right hand is right underneath the shoulder, left hand to your lower spine. Good. Press your sacrum up into your hand. Good. And try to lengthen your tail back and down. Good. Now start to twist to your left. Push into that right hand that's on the floor. Good. As you push into that hand, right, your right rib cage can lift a little higher, which means your right rib cage can go a little longer. Keep pushing your sacrum up into your left hand. Turn your ribs a little more. Keep your thighs wide. Good. And then release back to center. Left hand comes down to the floor. Right hand comes to your lower back. Nice. Again, push your sacrum up into your hand. So from the front of your body, you've got a hollow, and expand into the back. Then turn to your right. Move the belly to the right. Push into your left hand, so the hand that's on the floor. Push into it. Good. And the more you push into that hand, you get a little bit more lift on that left side body, so you're not collapsing through your left ribs. Good. Left low belly pulls up and wide. Good, you guys. And then release that hand down to the floor. Good job. Walk back towards the top of your mat. Right toes spin forward. Step back, downward facing dog. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Good. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Good. Bend your knees, kick your heels in towards your butt. Root those thighs down to the floor. Feel the front of your pelvis drawing forward and up, so you're flat on the belly, Lori. All the way on your belly. And then bend your knees and kick your heels in. There you go. Keep the front of the pelvis drawing forward and up, and then begin to lift head, neck, and chest into cobra. Keep the knees bent. Keep rooting down through the thighs. Good. I want the back bend to happen from your pelvis. So the front of your pelvis is drawing in and up. Root those thighs. Good. Nice, you guys. And then release all the way back down. Tuck your toes. Press back downward facing dog. Absolutely come through hands and knees first if you need. Nice, Alice. Good. Left leg comes up and back, down dog split. Bring that knee forward towards your nose, armpits over your wrist, squeeze in, pull up, round. Yeah, and then take your left leg back and up to down dog split. Good, so you're pushing back through the thighs, through the spine. Nice, and then same energy, same control. Bring the left knee forward again and place the foot between the hands. So practicing that idea, right? We say that your footsteps in your yoga practice should be almost silent. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Both hands come inside the front foot. Knee points towards the second toe. Walk your hands to the right just a little bit until you start to feel resistance. Good. So already, right, your physical practice gives you a sense of how much you are aware of the way you're using your energy, even your muscular energy. Because I can say right foot forward and you can fling it there with no control, it'll get there. Or you can place it consciously. And that placing it consciously is a little lighter, a little quieter. That's that energy of the peaceful warrior that says, I will still do everything that is required of me, that's needed, that is desired for me to do. But I can do it in a way that doesn't disturb. It enhances. Walk yourself all the way to the right, please. Straighten both legs, turn your left toes, come back to Prasarita Padottanasana, wide legs. Good. And then again, holding opposite elbows for a moment, really squeeze the legs towards each other, scoop your belly. Move your weight forward towards the balls of your feet. Good. And Lauren, bring your shins forward just a little more so your knees are softer at the back. Yeah, because your knees like to hyperextend, so just soften them a little bit. Awesome. And then bring your hands to your hips, please. Come all the way up to stand. Totally okay if bending the knees is necessary for that transition. Good. Heel toe your feet a little bit closer. Turn both feet out to 45 degrees. Bend the knees, come back to the high squat. Notice first, right, what angle your pelvis is in, that you're trying to find that feeling of the front of your pelvis. Your pelvic bones are lifting up off of your thighs. And your lower spine, your sacrum, your tail is drawing down, straight down. Your ribs are softening back and in. So your shoulders move back in space. Your throat moves back in space. And then take your arms out wide, letter T. And bend the elbows, come back to the arms mirroring the legs, so cactus arms. Good, bring your inner elbows slightly forward. Let your palms fall back, throat back. Lift and spread your toes. Squeeze your feet towards each other. And then draw in and up through your pelvic floor. So that's the internal muscles of your pelvis, the internal muscles from all the way from the sex organs all the way up to your navel. Draw up. Good. And then let your thighs go wider. Drop. Yeah, that's nice, Elizabeth. Good. And then straighten the legs, please. Nice job. Turn your toes forward. Arms back behind you, interlace, either interlace your fingers, that is one option, or hold opposite elbows. Try to put the other arm on top. Deep breath in, and then bow forward. Good. Again, from inside, drawing the ribs up, drawing the navel up. So you're trying to keep contact with your back body to your arms if you are holding opposite elbows. And even if you're taking the arms up and straight, you're still trying to stay hollow through the front of the body so that the spine stays supported. Go ahead, pull your armpits towards each other if you're holding opposite elbows. That's it. Nice, Elizabeth. Nice, Andy. Good, Lauren. And then release the hands down to the floor. Good, you guys. Take a walk towards your right thigh, please. So moving your torso towards your right thigh. So it's a little bit of a twist. Good. Keep your left hip nice and wide. And then walk yourself back towards center. And then walk your belly to your left thigh. Good. And really turn from your waist. Good. And then come back towards center, please. Nice. Heel toe your feet a little bit closer. Still facing straight ahead. Bend your knees, drop your sit bones back and wide. So your feet should be just hips width or slightly wider. Good. Bend your knees, drop your seat, thighs wide. Good. And then walk your fingertips straight ahead so that your arms are extended, cat-cow your spine. So just parallel to the floor, Laura. You're a little too low. There you go. Good. And Susan, you're a little too high. Both Susans, you're a little too high. There you go. Nice. And then release that action. Keep the hips where they are. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Walk your hands back behind your feet if you can. Good. Maybe hooking the thumb and first finger around the backs of your heels. Drop your hips lower. You're just staying there. Again, sometimes I give the option for the arm balance here, but I want you to just stay. Yeah, so you're in like a little bug position, Lori. Good. And then walk your hands back forward again, straighten the legs. Nice job, you guys. Beautiful. Walk back towards the top of your mat. Turn your left toes. Step your right foot forward alongside the left, standing forward, full top of your mat. You got it. Standing forward, full top of your mat. Good. Bend your knees. Drop your sit bones low for chair. And then inhale the arms up to the sky. Good. Come up on your tippy toes. So pull your knees up towards your chest. Good. And drop your butt back and low. So same thing you did on hands and knees, but I want you to do it here. And then long throat. Good. And then release the heels to the floor, please. Straighten the legs and bow. Forward fold. Nice job. Step your right leg back behind you. Nice long lunge. Drop the back heel. Baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Good. Cartwheel the arms up, warrior two. Nice. Again, that sense of a level pelvis. So can you start to lift your left hip point up a little higher up off of your thigh and let your right hip come forward slightly? Nice. And then left forearm onto front thigh. Please take the right arm over the ear, side angle. Good. Right. Still warrior two energy with the legs. Still warrior energy, but a little bit softer. Nice, or maybe not. Maybe side angle feels more intense to you than warrior two. One more deep breath. Good. And then right hand to your right hip, please. Take your gaze down towards the floor. Slide your left hand down to the floor or a block. And then you're moving into Ardha Chandrasana. So slide that hand beyond the toes of your front foot. Step up onto that left leg. Right leg parallels the floor. And keep your hand at your hip for a moment so that you push that right hip up into your hand. Good. Push up, push up, push up. And then stack that right rib cage a little bit more over the left. Draw your ribs in, round your back. Yeah. And push that right hip up to the sky. Then maintain that. Take your right arm up if you'd like, or keep it at your hip. Awesome. Nice, you guys. And then scoop the belly, please. Release that right hand down to the floor or blocks. Transition to standing split. So scoop your belly, turn your right toes down towards the floor. Good. Move that inner right hip and thigh a little wider to the right. Bend your left knee. That's your standing knee. Scoop your belly. Feel your sacrum pulling up. And then hands to heart center, please. You're going to lift your chest up into warrior three. Use blocks of hands at heart center. Doesn't make sense to you. Good. Lift your chest, lift your chest, lift your chest. Good. As you find that full warrior three, start to straighten your left leg. Nice. Good. And then step back, please, to lunge. Drop that back heel to 45 degrees. Warrior one. Inhale the arms up. Been playing with warrior positions. Earlier in the week, I did the transition from warrior one, warrior two, warrior three. What happens if you mess with that sequence? You're finding out. Take hands back behind you, interlace your fingers. Deep breath in. Bow inside the front knee, take the arms up and over any amount. Keep spinning your right hip forward, dragging the top of your left low belly back and wide, and squeeze your feet together, but widen your thighs. Nice. And then don't drop your head, lift the back of your throat. There it is. That's you using your whole spine. Release the hands down to the floor. Awesome. Spin your back heel up. Step back, downward facing dog. Seems like forever since you've been in down dog. Good. And then drop your knees to the floor, child's pose. I think the idea of the warrior poses, warrior one is that stance that says, I know what I stand for. I know what I stand on. This is the presence that I bring to whatever the battle is, to whatever the moment is. This is the presence that I bring, right? The energy behind your thoughts before it becomes action. Warrior two is that preparation. I'm setting my sights, my intention, my plans. This is how I want things to go. Warrior three is I set that energy loose. So you have a lot of time before warrior three happens to make decisions, to make understanding, to find awareness of what it is that you're creating before that energy is loose. Because once it is, it's gone, right? You can't take it back. Once the action has happened, then we call it karma because now it has momentum. But the momentum of it happened before you took the action. It started before you took the action. So what is your body and your mind resonating? Walk yourself back up, downward facing dog. Right? The peaceful warrior knows this is the presence that I stand in and this is what I'm resonating. I know my own attachments. I know my own limitations. I know the places where I'm going to struggle to stay objective or compassionate. Right foot steps forward between the hands, please. Oh, it was weird. You all had like a strange pause. Don't worry about it. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up, warrior two. Again, looking for that sense of a level pelvis. Right hip point tilts a little higher, a little bit lifting towards the top of your mat. And maybe that feels like it means that your left hip is actually falling in. You can still widen it, but you want it to drop in space to be in line with the front hip. Or you want the right hip to lift up so that the left hip can feel relaxation. Good. Arms are wide. Nice. Right forearm onto front thigh, please. Left arm comes over the ear. So funny, right? Wherever your ribs were in warrior two, they most likely stayed pretty much the same way coming into side angle. But if they did anything other than what you usually do in warrior two, is they have probably popped forward into an arch. So draw your ribs in and feel like you are drawing your tailbone down towards your back heel. So there's a lift to the front edge of your pelvis still, and a lengthening of your lower back. Good. Nice, you guys. And there should be a lightness on that right arm, that you're not pushing it down like crazy into your leg, but you're actually holding yourself again through the trunk, through the core energy. Beautiful. Last breath, really reach long. Good. And then left hand to your left hip. Take your gaze down towards the floor. Right hand comes down to the floor or a block. Ardha Chandrasana, move that right hand forward. Look where you're going. And then go ahead and step up to half moon, left hip stacking on top of right. Keep your hand at your hip for a moment so that you push that hip up into something. Good, that's gonna help you actually get more lift through your standing leg as well. Good, you can even push into that right hand that's on the floor. So again, you're using your connection to the floor, your anchor to the floor to give you more lift. Ribs in. Left arm can reach to the sky if you'd like, or keep it where it is. Good, flex your foot. Keep pushing that thigh up, keep pushing your hip up. Good. Nice, you guys. Like the arms of Durga, every one of them is holding something useful. So make your arms useful. Make your limbs useful. Good. And then release that left hand down to the floor. Please scoop your belly, turn your toes down towards the floor, transition to standing split. So pelvis faces the floor. Good, move your left inner thigh a little wider to the left because that transition is a difficult one to come into square. Good, and then bend your right knee, that's your standing knee. Good, hands to heart center. So here's you really using the energy of your core of your trunk. Good, start to lift your chest higher, scoop your belly, press your sacrum to the sky, move towards warrior three. And then as you find that connection, leg and chest, straighten the standing leg. Good, or keep it bent. Nice. Good, step all the way back to a lunge, please, but you're gonna drop that back heel to warrior one. So maybe step it a little wider to the left, drop the heel to 45 degrees, arms to the sky. Good, I won't pretend that that's a normal transition. It's not. It's not what we usually do. But that's kind of the point, is normal transitions are not the only way for you to have a sense of clarity or safety. What you're used to is not the only way for you to know yourself and to feel comfortable in who you are and what you can do. Sarah, step your left foot a little wider to the left. Not further back to the left, to the outside of your mat, to the left side of your mat. There you go. Now turn your left hip forward more. Amazing. Keep going. Good. Hands at behind your back. Interlace your fingers at the low spine. Good. Bow inside that front thigh. Take the arms up and over any amount. Keep spinning your left hip, that's your back hip, forward. Good. But press into the baby toe of the back foot. Squeeze your right butt cheek in. Nice. And then release the hands to the floor, please. Good job. Spin that back heel up, downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Good. Bend the knees again. Kick your heels in towards your butt. Lift up head, neck, and chest. Press those thighs down into the floor. Again, scoop your belly and lift your hip points forward and up. Good. And then release back to your belly, please. So option to come into this position one more time or reach back to find your ankles, right hand to right ankle, left hand to left ankle. So you're either keeping your hands alongside your ribs like cobra with your knees bent, or you're reaching back for your feet for upward bow. Good, so those are your choices. If your hands are staying on the ground, same thing you just did, root down into the thighs, lift head, neck, and chest. If you're holding your feet, kick your feet back into your hands. Still do the same thing, lifting through the front of your pelvis, rooting through the tops of the thighs, but lift your thighs up off the floor, lift your knees up off the floor, and lift your chest up. Good. Bend your elbows just a little bit if you're an upward bow, so that you really get into the lift of your chest. So try to bring your chest into your arm bones, not just your arm bones into your chest, but pull your shoulders back into your arms. Good. Nice. This is how we start to develop a real awareness of our back bending, is that it's not our limbs that are going to keep us there, but it's your energy of your back that does it. And then release. Good. Make a little pillow with your hands, rest your forehead on your hands, relax the legs. Beautiful. How long do you wait before you decide that something could change, should change, needs to change? And how often do you change something on the surface and think that it's going to make you feel a different way and it doesn't work? You're interested in the new routine for a little while, but then that same feeling underneath creeps back in and you say, it didn't work. Durga says you are responsible for who and what you are in the world. And that means you are responsible for what happens, not just in your actions, but in your thoughts. And whatever you are attached to, it's going to dictate who you think you are in the world or who you have to be or what you have to do. He says that's where the transformation happens. So she comes in to slays the demons. The demons are your attachments. Take one more deep breath. And then flip over onto your back. Your demons are your attachment even to who you think you are. So what she slays, what she destroys, is that feeling that the way things were yesterday, the way that you are sure they have to be. She destroys that surety. Leaves you open to receive a truth that is maybe bigger. Hands alongside the torso, please. You're going to move in and out of bridge pose, so feet underneath your knees, hips width apart. As you inhale, lift your hips, take your arms up overhead. Inhaling, lifting the hips, lifting the arms, so the arms find the floor behind you. Then as you exhale, release the hips down to the floor, release the arms down. Go ahead and keep doing that. Breathing, lifting your hips and lifting the arms. All one action, and then exhaling, release. So Susan, you're doing Susan chant, you're doing it almost backwards. So as you lift your hips, your arms go up overhead. Yeah, so the hips go up and the arms go up. There you go. And then the hips come down and the arms come down. You got it. Nice, you guys. Good. So try not to let yourself begin to migrate on your mat. So as you're moving in and out, right, the tendency is that if you are falling into your shoulders more, is you're going to start to feel like you're getting further and further away from your feet and like you're actually moving off of your mat. So try to stay really stable where you are with your feet. So as you lift your hips, you're finding your shoulders, but you're not sliding into them. You're actually moving your knees forward towards your toes. You're letting your hips go straight up and straight down. Again, awareness. The warrior energy that Durga holds, she says, you can use it any way you want, but if you use it in an aggressive way, in a way that tries to protect the way you think things should be or the way that they are that you're comfortable with, those are the things she's going to destroy, which frees you to be a more peaceful presence. Good. Next time your hips come down to the floor, let them rest there. Nice. Find your lower back. And bring your knees in towards your chest, please. Good. Hold behind your thighs. So try and find, so hold behind the knees or behind the thighs. Try and find a position where your shins are parallel to the floor. Good. And then, so you're holding behind the legs, but your shins are parallel to the floor. And then you're going to scoop your belly, and I want you to start to roll forward and back. So like you're going to come up to sit, but I want you to already be in that sort of structured position. So you got it, Laura. You're doing it right. Good. And then come up and balance on your sit bones. Find boat pose. So shins stay parallel to the floor. That same orientation, same scoop. You can keep your hands at the thighs. I'm all right with that. Good. And then roll back again. Roll on your spine, but keep that space. So you're maintaining that same amount of room between your belly and your thighs. Roll up to boat and hold. Good. So this is the point, right? Wherever you are right here in boat, however far away your belly is from your thighs, keep it that way and roll on your spine, roll back and forward. So I don't want you to be doing a lot of herky-jerky stuff with your hips. I want you to be maintaining this feeling of stability with your legs and your pelvis and your core. Nice. Come up one more time to balance in boat. Good. Again, like there's no disturbance. That's what we're trying to practice in a way where we're not even disturbing ourselves as we move from one position to another. Awesome. Release your feet to the floor, please. Good. Drop your chest, your forehead towards your knees just for a moment. Hug. Because it's different sitting up than when you're on your back. Good. And then slowly, hands behind the thighs, roll yourself back down onto your back. Or collapse onto your back like some of you did. Whichever, you know. I'm just here talking to myself. Keep the knees bent, please, feet flat. Right ankle comes onto your left thigh, please. And then left shin lifts parallel to the floor. Reach through to hold. Good. Flex both feet. That's it. Harriet, a little bit more weight onto the left side of your sacrum. There you go. And then relax your right shoulder more. Aha. Good. Good, you guys. One more breath. As you exhale, hug that knee in even deeper. So bring the legs in, close, close, close. If you want to lift your shoulders up while you do that, you're welcome to, but just drag those legs in. Good, and press into the back of your spine as you do that, so you're hollowing. And then release all the way back down. Awesome. Switch the legs, please. Left ankle over right thigh. Reach through to hold. And hug in. Good, so don't lift the shoulders right away. Give yourself a moment to just let the hips and the lower spine find a good relationship. Good, Laura, try to pull your right hip down away from your armpit. There you go, yeah, left hip needs to come up a little higher. Good, you guys. And then go ahead and drag those legs in a little deeper. If you'd like to lift your shoulders up off the floor, squeeze in, you can do that. But really get into as the squeezing is hollowing the front of the body and pressing through the back body. Good. And then release, please. Unwind your legs, hug your knees in towards your chest. Good. Take your knees wide, happy baby. Reach for your ankles or your insteps. Good. You're finding the lower back, scooping the belly, again, pressing into the back of your spine. So draw your low rib cage in so you can feel your back of your low rib cage on the floor. Good. And then start to straighten your legs out wide to a straddle. You don't have to keep holding the feet. Straighten the legs, let your legs drop wide. Good. Strong feet though, keep the feet flexed. Keep your lower back anchored to the floor. Nice. Try not to over rotate. So some of us who have more flexible hips, we can actually turn the toes too much towards the floor here. So make sure that you are keeping your feet a little bit more neutral. So Laura, you've gone a little bit too far pulling the toes towards the floor. You almost want to take them up towards the ceiling a little more. Good. Nice, you guys. And then stretch your arms out wide, letter T. Hold your legs, no hands. Let your legs hold you, no hands. Good. Yeah, you got to scoop your belly so your feet aren't falling beyond your hips. Keep them in line with your hips. Yeah, nice. Then just bend your knees back to happy baby, please. Oh, if that was a big transition, then why'd you let your legs fall so low? Same pose, just bent knees. Nice, you guys. Good. And then start to curl into your back again. Lift your shoulders up off the floor, reaching through the legs and maybe starting to wrap one arm around your calf. So left forearm around your left calf, right forearm around your right calf. If you want to go deeper than that, again, starting to bring the shoulders inside the knees. Nice. And then again, so you're curling into your belly, you're pressing into your back body, but then feel as though you are allowing gravity to pull those knees as low as they want to go. Awesome. And then slowly release and unwind. Bring the bottoms of your feet together, drop your heels down towards your groin. So don't drop the feet to the floor, but Baddha Konasana on your back. So heels in towards your groin, knees should be angled up towards your armpits. So again, you're keeping that rotation where your lower back is really anchored to the floor comfortably. Good. Nice, you guys. And then bring the knees back together, please. Good. Spinal twist, your choice. You can either keep knees together, or if you'd like to wrap the left leg on top of the right, then you can scoot your hips over to the left and drop your knees to the right with the legs wrapped. Good. So either knees stay stacked, dropping the knees to the right, or you have the left leg wrapped on top of the right. Good. And then slowly release, coming back to center. Switch your twist. So again, either wrapping the right leg on top of the left, scooting your hips to the right, dropping your knees to the left, or keep the knees stacked on top of each other with no wrap. And the knees drop to the left. Good. What is your body resonating with? And wherever there is that feeling of attachment, this is the way I like things to be, this is the way I'm sure things have to be. If you are even flirting with the idea of inviting Durga energy in, and those are the places that if you let her break those attachments, let her destroy your sense of, I'm sure of myself in these circumstances and these circumstances only. You let that be destroyed, then you start to realize a bigger sense of your capabilities. You're not relying on your attachments to feel safe. Unwind yourself, come back to center. Hug the knees in towards the chest, bring your forehead up to meet your knees, squeeze. Good, deep exhale out while you squeeze. And then slowly release, stretching the legs out in front of you, arms alongside you, palms face up, let the feet drop open. Whatever you feel that your body resonates with, your mind is resonating with, can you also feel that beyond that there is a field of energy, a presence that doesn't exclude anything that you're feeling, but it absorbs everything that you're feeling into strength, courage, love, acceptance. So feel what you're resonating, and then feel that there is that field of energy that you fall into. And that's Shavasana. I fall into something that is beyond what I know as my body and my mind. I dissolve into it. Gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Let the body begin to stretch and move in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw the knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. And take a moment there before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Bringing the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm, or lotus mudra if you like that, or any other mudra that has been serving you. So it was said recently that, we've been skipping our shavasanas, or many people have. Our shavasanas have gotten shorter since we've been practicing on Zoom, since we're more at home. And a part of me went, ooh, we can't skip shavasana. Right? Of all of your asana practice, shavasana is probably the most important pose. Why? Because more than any other, it gives you the chance to actually change what your body is vibrating with. More than anything else, it gives you the chance to actually receive the benefits of all the effort you just put into stretching and toning and strengthening and whatever you thought you were doing. It's the position, it's the mentality that says that I am willing to dissolve my sense of self into something bigger. And if you didn't know that that's what Shavasana is intended to be, now you do. So during this time, Navaratri, don't skip Shavasana. Never skip Shavasana, but especially now, that energy that says if I can become aware, not just of what is behind my own thoughts, not just what's behind the curtain of my own thinking, my own acting, but I can become aware of what's behind the big curtain of what I think is my limited reality. If I can become aware of that, that's what saves me, right? So we call on Durga as the energy to save us from what holds us hostage, but what holds us hostage is ourselves. So we start to try and become aware of something beyond ourselves so that we let that show us what we've been missing. You don't have to decide for yourself what's been right or wrong about your life. But you can look at how attached you are to the way things are and start to dissolve. Sounds much better than having things destroyed, doesn't it? And that's Durga. She doesn't destroy, she dissolves. And she absorbs. Whatever is dissolved, she absorbs into herself. It's a big hug. Just hug her back. We'll close with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste, everybody. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week until I see you again. If you have any questions about Goddess Rising or you decided that you want to participate or be a part of it, send me a little message or, if you don't know how to get in touch with me, get in touch with Cheryl. I can put my number down in the chat if you want.